Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation felicitates governor's wife, pledges to amplify reach, impact of GIFA through its platforms. Unified academic calendar for schools, state government holds midterm break for primary, secondary and technical schools. Directorate of State Security threatens organized labor over planned protests as labor remains defiant. And Chief of Defense Staff warns against coup d'etat over current economic hardship, says military is out to defend democracy. We have details of these and other stories. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. My name is Mandu Isenobon. Welcome to the news. The Director General, Management and staff of Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation (AKBC) have extended their felicitation to the wife of the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Patience Eno, on the unveiling of her pet project, the Golden Initiative for All, GIFA. The felicitation was contained in a release signed by the Public Relations Officer of the corporation, Mrs. Mercy David. According to the release, the milestone achievement represents the First Lady's love for Akwa Ibom people and her commitment to the service, empowerment and positive change to the lives of all Akwa Ibomites. The release further noted that the First Lady's vision and dedication in establishing GIFA is commendable, as the corporation believes that the initiative will bring empowerment and improvement to individuals and communities across the state. The Director General, Management and staff of the AKBC said they are proud to identify with the governor's wife and pledge to collaborate and support her noble cause to amplify the reach and impact of GIFA through the corporation platform. The release wished the governor's wife continued success, more inspiration and total commitment in her efforts to create a better future for all through the Golden Initiative for All. Now, the chairman of Akwa Ibom State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Martin Akpan, has stated that the premium accorded primary health care in the Arise agenda of Pastor Umoino will guarantee universal health coverage and the attainment of Goal 3 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Dr. Akpan stated this, in an exclusive interview with AKBC 45 News after inspecting primary health care facilities in Ikorekbene and local government areas. The report.
Dr. Martin Akpan lauded the state governor, Pastor Umoino, for what he termed taking bold steps to address the issue of primary health care with the construction of new health centers in various parts of the state, in addition to a firm commitment to build more primary health centers in all parts of the state.
The governor has already answered that question because he's working very hard to ensure that most of those centers are in their proper places. We started the construction of new health centers in the states. For instance, when we went to Ibesi Kwasuta, Ikori War, we discovered the health center there was in a village council, village hall. And so the governor quickly moved in. And today we have a modern health center that's been constructed for them. So that goes to other places. For instance, I understand even at Ika, work has started. The Wellington Basiwe here and work has already started. So that's exactly what is going to happen. We're going to move most of them out of those places because they're not good enough.
On staff shortage, Dr. Akpan said the agency has recruited and posted 150 ad hoc midwives to areas of need. Dr. Akpan, who described the agency's recent tour of primary health centers in Ikorekbene and Eket local government areas as an eye-opener, listed the challenges observed and the plans to remedy same.
The step we took because we have to have first-hand knowledge of what is happening in the primary healthcare centers. I want to follow in the footsteps of my governor, Pastor Umoino. He doesn't sit in the office to administer all the time. It is administration by touring places to see things for himself. And so that was what we decided to do. And we visited Ikarekmene, we visited Eket yesterday, and we saw things for ourselves. And it was an eye-opener for us. I was really impressed by a number of things I saw. And I also noted some of the challenges which we are going to look into. It was bright, and we are training and retraining the health staff because one of the complaints we hear most of the time is that people don't get to the primary health care because of the staff are not very cooperative, they are not very friendly, and so on. We're trying to train them in that direction to make sure that they are well oriented.
He sued for greater synergy between the local government chairman and primary health care coordinators, since local government chairman also chaired the primary health care advisory board in their domain. Dr. Okpan said such synergy will ensure that primary health centers have their business plans approved timely and are able to access the basic health care provision fund, which is funded by the federal government and donor agencies.
What that means is that 1% of the consolidated revenue of federal government goes into that pool, and some funds from donor partners, and 45% of that fund now comes to the primary healthcare agencies.
He emphasized that the creation of Akwa Ibom State Primary Healthcare Development Agency has brought primary health care in the state under one roof and has engendered seamless coordination.
It was only after the federal government came up with the primary healthcare under one roof policy that it was resolved that every state should have the primary healthcare development agency and everything should come under one roof. We have not really been able to accomplish that in the state yet. The Ministry of Health, we've been able to bring the workers from the Ministry of Health and the programs there, the primary healthcare programs, to the agency. But that of the Local Government Service Commission, we've not been able to migrate them effectively to the agency yet. So the moment we have that in place, you see that everything will work seamlessly because you have one control, you have one plan, and you have one monitoring and evaluation department with the referral system working effectively.
The Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly Committee on Special Projects Monitoring and Implementation has invited stakeholders in the infrastructure, assets, management and maintenance to a public hearing today. The invitation is contained in a statement signed by the chairman of the committee, Mr. Uwemi Moore Ita. The statement says the hearing, which is scheduled is ongoing at the Old Chapel of the House of Assembly, is on a bill for a law to establish the Akwa Ibom State Infrastructure and Asset Management and Maintenance Agency and other matters connected therewith. Former groups in Oruwanam local government area have received farm inputs of AKKs courtesy of the World Bank, the federal government and Akwa Ibom State government. AINOPOR reports that AKKs, which is an acronym for COVID-19 Action Recovery Economic Stimulus, is jointly funded by the state government, the federal government and the World Bank to mitigate the effect of the current and recent pandemic.
The inputs were handed out by the Commissioner for Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Ofiongo, who reiterated government's preparedness to boost crop and livestock production. Ofo, represented by the head AKK's Results Area 2, Mr. Richard Sam, encouraged beneficiaries to harness the inputs in order to obtain bountiful yields and help in reducing the current high prices of food items. She informed them that in line with the guidelines of the AKK's Phase 2 program, will monitor the progress of the farms or small-scale enterprises.
In my experience, COVID some 2 years back, COVID did advocate Union Percent Metal White the same year. You can industries, small scale. And I never for them assume it. After that COVID, government thought it wise that Nigerian was in a very little way, government can make one.
In their separate goodwill messages, the Director, Animal Husbandry, Dr. Namo Kwarok, the Transition Secretary, Rowanam Local Government Area, Mr. Doro Simon, and the Secretary, Ngawara Farmers Community Association, Mrs. Ekaite Sande, acknowledged Governor Moeno's support to local farmers towards increasing agricultural production and thanked the donors of the farm inputs.
Become government, Akwa Ibom State. Then I'm Bosami, my partner with World Bank to make these assets and inputs available to farmers.
And we all know, as a farmer, if you are a good farmer, you can then live on this and live better and bring up your family to a better stage.
A technical officer in the ministry, Mr. Lafobot, refreshed the minds of the farmers on poultry farming techniques and provided answers to questions raised by the beneficiaries.
Because this state has reached our doorstep, and one of the beneficiaries of the Akwa Ibom State AKKs.
AKKs Phase 2 is a COVID-19 Action Recovery Economic Stimulus sponsored by the Akwa Ibom State Government, Federal Government, and the World Bank to ameliorate the adverse effects of the pandemic. Eyageno Paul, KBC News.
The Akwa Ibom State Ministry of Education has declared yesterday, February 22nd, and today, February 23rd, 2024, as midterm break for the second term of the 2023-2024 school session. A release signed by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Lady Rose Bassi, advised all public and private primary, secondary, and technical schools in the state to adhere strictly to the directives as it is in compliance with the Unified Academic Calendar for schools. According to the release, the Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Idon Tiebet, wishes all pupils and students a fruitful break as academic activities will resume on Monday, February 26, 2024. We'll now take a break. We'll be back with more stories. We'll stay on.
Everything you go through in life is preparing you for your next assignment. My father was a police officer, so I lived in the barracks. A barracks like a mini in Nigeria, you find everybody there. My dad's salary, of course, couldn't meet the family income, so I had to sell soft drinks for my mother so that we can make up the family income. I used to take soft drinks from our home and I'll go to the airport and sell. It was fun. I didn't know I was going to ever get into hotel business. So eventually, my coke hawking helped me later in life when I started running my hotel. Those little things you did became building blocks for my later days in life. And you know what? My house was built on the same street I used to go through to hawk. And so everybody that saw me hawk these soft drinks for my mother, when I bought a land there and built my house, all of those people were still alive. It's like, some of them had to break their children. Look at me mentor these kids. Today, when I drive around the streets, sometimes you find people sell and you stop by. I just remember, it used to be like this. That hawking has helped me today to be able to serve the people. Accept the things you can't change and change the things you can, and ensure that you just have the fear of God in you. I think the only person that can stop you from achieving what God has set out for you is you.
Akwa Ibom is rising.
Thank you for your time. Now to the rest of the reports. Bush burning is a practice of setting fire to farmland or vegetation intentionally or accidentally, mostly during the dry season, as farmers take advantage of the dry spell to prepare the farmlands for planting. While awaiting the outset of the rains, AKBC environment reporter Maggie Bam sought the views of farmers in the state and that of a soil scientist in the University of Uyo on the merits and demerits of bush burning.
A lecturer in the Faculty of Agriculture, Dr. Emmanuel Bassi, said bush burning carried out for agricultural purposes goes with clearing of land and controlling pests in the hope of enhancing crop yields and soil fertility. The agriculturist further pointed out that bush burning is also used to drive out animals from their hiding places. Dr. Bassi explained that despite its seeming advantages, bush burning has many negative effects on the environment, human health and economy. He highlighted some of the disadvantages of bush burning to include air pollution, soil degradation, loss of biodiversity, greenhouse gas emissions, damage to infrastructure and livelihoods, as well as increased vulnerability to climate change.
Burning has certain advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are that it will reduce the bulk of the trashes. That's the material that they cut the tree cuttings, the stems. It will reduce that to ashes, thereby making the land available for them to cultivate. Certain vital organisms like the earthworm, insects are born during this period.
Dr. Bassi advised farmers to protect the soil from losing its organic matters that are vital to fertility. He, however, emphasized the need to do away with bush burning in the state, since the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. The Dawn, however, suggested that farmers should indulge in bush burning only when farmlands have been fallowed for over a decade or more to help reduce the bulk of the trash. Dr. Bassi called on government to safeguard the ecosystem from being destroyed as a result of bush burning by sensitizing the public to completely avoid burning farmlands during dry seasons. He urged the government to provide agricultural machinery to farmers to facilitate mechanized agriculture.
Government can acquire land from communities as a project. Tell the communities each community should have a land set aside for agriculture. They will not allow the trees to grow to the point of having to be clearing after 3 or after 5 or 10 years. Rather, machines would go in there, plow, install under the trashes, which are not really tree or stems.
Dr. Bassi said the government should also implement the Land Use Act of 1978 by mapping out agricultural lands in different local government areas for planting of specific crops in order to boost crop production and attainment of food sufficiency in Akwa Ibom. Dr. Bassi appealed to the state government to enforce zero bush burning as the practice infringes on various laws such as the National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency Act, NEA's REA, the National Policy and Environment, the National Forest Policy, and the National Climate Change Policy. Dr. Bassi explained that the laws and policies regulating bush burning are aimed at promoting sustainable land management and environmental protection. The head of department noted that the enforcement of these bush burning regulations are often weak and ineffective due to various challenges such as lack of awareness, resources, coordination, and political will. Most farmers within Ntariang confirmed they engaged in bush burning.
Mewi kan ne long akiti roba so mi mboke meri fobonye iso ngome ya nwanga mi kan tom gbo kiti mi so ngoro akle nna mi nde ma toru ma fobonye ma nya tom gbo ndwo mo nkpo mero sege ya fon
Temi Jeremy Tong Bomb, get a Temi Tim. Mwaganye Purok, Nissan Kappa, La Shovel, Sunny Song Kappa. Sinam ya menke for perform bomb, you can give it Tom Momico. A broken get on one table or you back. Back is an income for 84 for his own phone team.
Maggie Bam, AKBC News.
Now, all roads led to non-local government weekend for the funeral of an octogenarian, the late Madam Esther Mandekpo. The funeral service, which held at Nongoku Itina Community Secondary School, Ikot Mbong, Ona local government area, was conducted by the Akwa Ibom Church Nigeria. Esther Moran reports.
The Superintendent Pastor, Akwa Ibom Church Nigeria, Ikot Mbong, Reverend Otto Abaselkpan, who preached on the topic, "Where will I be when I die?" described the death of the righteous as rest from hard work. He urged all to live godly lives in order to be remembered by God.
The day of the righteous is asleep.
The biography of the octogenarian, Madam Esther Mandekpo, read by her son, Mr. Nsikalepo, indicated that the deceased was a devout Christian who held firm to her faith till death. It also stated that she was sociable and well respected by those who came her way.
Our mother was a very social person in the church, in the family, and even in the whole village. She was well respected in this community. She was very gracious, very generous, and willing to give to others that she don't even know. She was an amazing woman.
The funeral featured testimonies, thanksgiving by the family, choral renditions, Akwa Ibom Church Women Fellowship rites, and prayer for the bereaved family. The remains of Madam Esther Mandekpo were laid to rest in a family compound, Ikot Mbong, in Ona local government area. Some family members had this to say.
As a Christian, as a mother, as a grandmother, as a great-grandmother, Mrs. Madam Esther Mandekpo was a great woman. She may have soul rest in peace.
Look at this event. Look around. You know that Mom was a good person.
Esther Omorin, AKBC News.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has warned that the law would go after those he described as evil people calling for a coup in Nigeria due to the current economic hardship in the country. General Musa handed down the warning after inaugurating the main entrance of 6th Division Nigerian Army and Officers Transit accommodation at the division headquarters in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The Army Chief assured of the commitment of the armed forces towards the sustenance of democracy in Nigeria. General Musa said, in quote, "Whoever is making that call does not love Nigeria. We want to make it very clear that the armed forces of Nigeria are here to protect democracy," end of quote. The defense boss said the federal government is focused on addressing the current economic challenges in the country and appealed to Nigerians to exercise patience, ensuring that things will get better. So from the national scene, the Department of State Services, DSS, has asked organized labor to shelve its planned nationwide protest over high cost of living and sundry issues in the country in the interest of peace. But the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC Tuesday dared the DSS to stop the protest, advising the police to face its job of providing credible intelligence to government on devastating effect of the harsh economic policies. It will be recalled that organized labor had served the federal government a notice to embark on a 2-day protest between February 27 and 28 to protest the hardship which arose from fuel subsidy removal and flotation of the naira by the present administration. By reacting to the protest notice in a statement Wednesday, the DSS said while it is the right of the labor movement to embark on protest, the body should not go ahead with it so as not to further jeopardize the prevailing situation in the country. The statement signed by the DSS Director of Public Relations and Strategic Communications, Dr. Peter Ofunaya, read, while the service recognizes such action as the legitimate right of the labor movement, it however urges the body to shelve the plan in the interest of peace and public order. The DSS further called on parties to pursue dialogue and negotiation rather than engaging in conduct that could heighten tension and worsen the socio-economic situation across the country. It also cautioned all sectors, including political parties, opposition groups, religious and traditional institutions, civil society and non-governmental bodies to eschew violence, demonstrate leadership and statesmanship in these challenging times. Now, the Nigerian Senate has confirmed the 12 members of the Monetary Policy Committee MPC of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN at its plenary on Thursday. The confirmation follows the consideration of the report of the Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions presented by the Chairman, Senator Adekuntubo Abiru. Those confirmed are Olayemi Kadoso, CBN Governor Chairman, and 4 Deputy Governors of CBN, Mohammed Sani Abdullahi Bala Bello, Ememusoro, and Philip Ikeazo as members. Other members are Lamido Yeguda, Jafia, Lydia Shego, Mortala Sabo, Sagai, Aloysius Uche Odu, Ako Pauline Adeke Melu, Mustafa Kingwumi, and Bandele AG Amo. The confirmation followed the nomination by President Bola Tinubu in a letter to the Senate on February 14, 2024. The President's request was conferred to the Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, which screened the nominees. The Chairman of the committee, Ade Tokumbo Abiru, while presenting the report, said the committee found all nominees adequately qualified and that they were cleared by the Nigeria Police and the Department of State Services, DSS, adding that the committee did not receive any petition against any of the nominees. Abiru also said the CBN governor and the 4 deputy governors who were screened and confirmed recently before their appointments did not need to be screened again. Senate President Godswill Akpabio in the remarks congratulated those confirmed and urged them to use the wealth of experiences in the financial sector to turn around monetary policy of the country, especially taking into consideration the current challenges facing the country. And that's all that we can take for this afternoon, except for the top story. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has warned that the law would go after those he described as evil people, calling for a coup in Nigeria due to the current economic hardship in the country. General Musa handed down the warning after inaugurating the main entrance of the 6th Division Nigerian Army and Officers Transit Accommodation at the division headquarters in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. And that's a package. We'll bring you more news at 8. We will look forward to your company. Here are best wishes for your weekend. Good afternoon. My name is Mandu Isenobo.